that. There we go. Um, so just a few questions, really. The first one is, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Christian Dumais, and I'm living in California, USA.
Cool. Um, Tell me a bit more about your injury. How did it sort of make you feel? What happened?
In August 2020, when riding motocross with my son, we each have our bikes to a track we used to ride for years. Very, very commonplace. We go. But this one time, I missed the jump and I got the bike laying on me and broke C6, C7 on the spot. Got airlifted to the hospital and yeah, my new journey started from there.
Yeah. How was that before finding Verita Neuro? What was it like in the aftermath of that?
How was it to find out about Veritas? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so like before you found Verita Neuro, were there any of the treatments you tried beforehand or?
No, just therapy for the most part.
Mhm.
Almost immediately first week at the hospital, started to have some small therapy sessions, and then it grew. I would say in the first year, um, for me, it was 40 hours a week therapy sessions. I was going to a center close by, and I didn't go to work for the most part, and I just took some time off so I can focus on the therapy. So
Mhm.
um, I would say I had really heavy therapy sessions from the very beginning. Try to regain as much as I possibly can. But yeah, that was pretty much what I did before I went for the surgery there.
Yeah. How did you find Verita Neuro in the end?
You mean I find out about them, or
Yeah,
did I
yeah.
find the treatment?
How did you
Find
find
out?
out about them?
Just through a web search. Looking at trials in the country, the different trials, and noticed this one was on trial, but very restricted, and it was very hard to get into. And then most of my attributes wouldn't qualify for it. And I know kind of time was going by, and then there's a window of opportunity to get this treatment, so you get the most out of it. So to me, it was a no-brainer. Once I find out, I did some extensive research and went for it.
I suppose you probably answered my next question there, which was sort of like, why did you choose to go for epidural stimulation over other treatments? Was it just because the other ones were a bit unaccessible?
Yeah, I mean, the you either have the choice of enrolling for the trial
Hmm.
and wait there, or find the money one way or another and then get it done on the international. Um, and Veritas is pretty much the only option, if you will, or the best option at the same time.
Yeah.
And so to me, I wouldn't have waited 5 years in the trial lineup to get this. It had to be done after the first year or within the first year. Yeah.
Mm. Did you have your surgery in Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? How'd it go?
Well, it was right in the pandemic, so I had to have that 2 weeks quarantine. Um, but that didn't stop me there. I had to have it, so whatever it takes. Um, I mean, the trip was fine. Flying was a first, so I got to experience the transfer and the roll down the aisle in that little cart.
Hmm.
I went there with my wife, so obviously I had a lot of help there all around. So it made it, extremely easy or extremely easier to have it over there in Thailand. We're placed in a nice hotel. Not a 5 star, but it was decent. and people were super nice, whether it was in the hotel or as we transferred to the hospital. And yeah, I would say my whole Thailand experience was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the people who looked after you while you were, in like the immediate aftermath of the surgery and while you were there?
Yeah, just incredible people, super nice, always willing to help. Obviously knowledgeable in the area there because that's all they do. So they don't do anything else but that. And I found myself sometimes at 5 therapists helping me
Mm,
at that one time, and so just overwhelming help
yeah.
from all directions all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose afterwards there's probably a bit more sort of like rehabilitation to go through. How long was that for you?
The rehabilitation after surgery was it a total of a month and a half or something like that. So the surgery almost happens immediately when you land there.
Hmm.
Yeah, when you get out of, in my case, when I got out of quarantine, I think the weekend after the quarantine, I got the surgery, and then you spend that month and a half of therapy.
Hmm. And how long did it take you until you started seeing some results from like the surgery and the different help that you've been receiving?
As soon as they turn it on, you see it immediately. I mean, if you try the stim pads on top of your skin and turn them on, you can see your fingers moving, you can see your body parts moving. It's kind of the same principle, right? So they turn it on and body parts start moving. It's just this one is embedded right in the middle of you, and so we're right at the core of your um, uh, right at the core of where it needs to be. And so when they turn it on, then they can target very specific area a lot more precise than if you just have pads.
Hmm.
So pads, sometimes work, sometimes doesn't work, and it's like, but this precisely work the same way every time, and so you can fine tune it so that you can move the right member. And obviously with the pads, you can't get far enough to get like a leg to stretch or something like that. Whereas this is, you know, sending the right signal in the right place, and so you can get that leg to stretch, to push down, so you can lift, um, or otherwise, right? And
Mm.
so yeah, so as soon as they turn it on after the surgery, they make a session maybe a day later or something, and they turn it on, and then you know, you can see your legs starting to move based on that signal, or if you had the upper one, you would see the arms moving.
Yeah.
But
How
yeah,
how did you feel sort of in that moment when they turned it on?
well, at first I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know, hey, is that gonna hurt, or like where's gonna be the feeling? But no, it doesn't hurt at all. In fact, it was quite a bit more mellow than I thought. You see your legs moving, and it really doesn't hurt. It's just a little vibrating thing. It's almost like it vibrates. So if you put it on for hours on end, then it gets a little annoying after a while.
Hmm.
But I can think of it as free workout, because I mean they get your muscle to stretch and exercise whether you want it or not. And so even though you might have this little annoyance of the vibration, your muscle are working out. So it's a win-win, I think.
Yeah, yeah. How's it sort of affected your daily life since then, since you got back to the US?
I mean, I got to try different things to come up with a schedule that works for me. So I work remotely, from home,
Hmm.
and so I have scheduled to do this and that for work. And so I came up with a schedule that embeds exercises with the stem at regular intervals during the day, so that I can always get that workout in every single day, without disrupting my daily life and being able to do what I need to do otherwise. And so, um, but yeah, I think every single day since I came back, I've used that.
Cool. How's it helped you sort of maybe get back into society a little bit? Obviously, after the injury, it's a bit difficult, but how have you been a bit more active, sort of out and about since then?
Into the society. I would say for the most part, society. I mean, so the stimulator is not like you turn it on and all of a sudden you're gonna go and grab a cup of coffee at
Yeah, yeah.
Starbucks or anything. It doesn't translate into um, actions you would have done before, but it would. So there's two things in my point of view. The one is that it helps accomplishing existing things. So if, for example, you work out your muscle a lot, and so my core became a lot stronger because of it.
Mhm.
Regardless of the signal from my brain going down, that muscle is strengthened. So even a weak signal now, it helps me a lot. And so turning in the bed, right? Something that sounds a little silly, but it's helpful to be able to turn on your own without asking someone to turn you in the middle of the night. Well, since I do the stimulation now, I was able to find the strength to turn around doing this and many other things throughout the day. The other part is the morale. Um, it's just a simple fact that you can stand up, and in some of the cases, particularly mine, I can walk with crutches and a walker around the house. It doesn't translate into something like useful, but it's awesome to be able to walk around like before and staying up, seeing the world in a perspective. Um, and so those two things are massive and well worth the money. Um, and always, keeping in mind that technology advances, and if if you keep your muscle alive and everything as close as possible to what it was before, if something was found, then it will allow you to get that, as opposed to let everything kind of die down.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like I say,
so
that's a
that's
really nice way to sort of think about it, I think. What would you say to people who haven't considered um, epidural stimulation?
sorry, say it one more time.
What would you say to people, with a life-changing injury who haven't considered epidural stimulation?
Yeah, well, let's say the first thing is it's a fairly expensive surgery, and so I would say first and foremost, if you don't have the money, then that's that, right? So you go for the trial. That's your only option. But if I would say you have to look at all the avenue to find the money um, to have it. Um, if I had to do it again, I would have it the same way. I would have it over and over again. This was the one best decision I had since my injuries to get there. But I had a stable job, and they kept me afterwards, and so that allowed me to financially be able to afford this.
Hmm.
Um, but that's not necessarily the case for everybody. Um, but I would say if you can't afford it, I would seriously consider it.
Yeah, cool. Um, what are sort of like your goals going forward from this point on then?
Well, my goal is to continue working out. I mean, there's always little gains. I've had the surgery over a year ago, and there's always little gains. I used to not be able to stand at all. Now I can stand free for 10 minutes twice a day, and so these small increments there helps a lot. Um, my next step is I'd like to be able to do like one step without anything.
Hmm.
I walk around the house with crutches, but the crutches kind of help me. So I'd like to do one step and then maybe two, and where that lands, and keep the hope alive, that they find a cure out there.
Yeah. suppose it's quite literally one step at a time then, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think is there anything else that you want to sort of like say on it, or
No, no,
no?
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think you've covered that really well. Yeah, it's really nice to sort of like get a perspective from sort of like a patient point of view about the surgery and how it helps and things like that. So thank you very much for your time on that. Obviously, if we use anything you said going forward in any like articles or anything like that, we'll send it to you for your approval beforehand, just so we're not saying anything that you're not happy with. But I'll keep that in mind going forward. So should be all good. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm gonna go make some dinner now because it's tea time over here. So uh, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.